I'm going to do the first part of the presentation, and then Laura's going to do the second half. And so to introduce myself, I'm Holly Tkachuk. I am a Palm Bay librarian. I worked in Titusville and Cocoa as well, but right now I'm in Palm Bay and happy to be here. So I teach library instruction classes. I do reference work. We work as embedded librarians. We can do research help, just like we're doing here on Teams. We're happy to do that if anybody has questions afterwards, or you have some students that have some questions. We're really happy to help with that. So I'm going to go ahead and let Laura introduce herself, and then I'll just start presenting and share my screen.
Great. Thank you so much, Holly. Hi, everybody. My name is Laura Browning, and I'm co-presenting today with Holly. Again, like she said, we're so excited to be here. I'm coming to you from the Cocoa campus. So we have a great presentation that we worked on together and collaborated, and we're going to give you guys just a good overview of everything you'll need to complete your research projects in Primo. And we, like I said, are just excited to see everybody here and to answer questions at the end too. Thank you, guys.
Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm sorry, Mary. I'm trying to find the, I don't know, do you have to give me the power? I don't see the share my screen button on here. Okay, there it is. Okay, so everybody can see my screen. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
We see ya.
Okay, very good. All right, so I am just gonna go ahead and turn off my camera. Okay, so everybody can still hear me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the library homepage, and I'm going to log into my EFSC. So this is going to give you access to all the resources. Okay, and from here I'm going to click on library resources, and this is going to take you directly to the Primo search homepage. Okay, so what I'm going to show you first is I'm going to do an advanced search, and I'm going to change it to the library catalog. Today I'm going to focus on the library catalog and everything search, looking for books and media. And then Laura, in the second half, she's going to focus on the statewide catalog and articles, and she might touch on course reserves as well. So I'm pretty new to Florida, and I'm very enamored with the manatees. So I'm just going to do a basic search for manatees, and I want to focus on books. So I'm going to change it to books up here. Okay, so I've got 38 results, and I'm interested in looking for something that's online. So over here, we can make refinements. So I'm going to hit the filter for available online. Okay, so now it's given me 5 results. This book looks interesting. I'm going to click on it. Okay, so this book is available by EBSCO eBooks. So a great thing about the ebooks is you can search within them. That's my favorite feature. So let's see, I'll search for, oh gosh, what's a good, let me see if there's anything about pollution. Okay, so there are 36 places in this book that has a reference to pollution. So if I click on that, it's going to take me right to the place in the book where it's has mentioned that, so that can help the students if they say they don't want to, read a whole book, or it's too difficult. They can try the ebooks, and there we've got some really good sources. And then the great things, of course, with using these databases for the ebooks is you can manipulate them. You can email pages to yourself. You can get the permalink. You can save it to Google Drive. And then there's also some citation information. So what we say about these is that it's a starting point. So I can see right here for this citation, it is incorrect for MLF format because it has EBSCO host here. So I would change this and I would take out EBSCO host because that's not the name of the database. And I would put in the ebook collection. So we tell students it's kind of a starting point. It's not going to be always perfect, but that is a good feature that you can use, and usually they're pretty close to being correct, but once in a while they'll be a little bit off. Okay, so I've got my 5 results. I kind of want to broaden this out, so I'm going to remove the online. So I've just cleared my filters. And now I've got 38 results. I'd like to see if I can focus on Florida. So I'm going to add that to my search. Okay, so now I've got 23 results. And I want to look specifically for Palm Bay. So I'm going to click on Palm Bay, and then that's going to show me the books available at my library. This first book is available in Palm Bay and also in Titusville. And here's the call number, the QL737C432R495-2003. And that might seem complicated, but it's just the Library of Congress system that most academic libraries use. It's kind of an ABC 1, 2, 3, and everything's by subject. So QL is science and zoology, so that's why our book is there. Okay. So I'm going to just do now another search that's a simple search. So I'm going to click back here. I'm going to take off my filters. Okay, so I'm going to look for a short story. Story and poetry author. So her name is Grace Paley. Okay, so I'm coming here and I've got 59 results. And I'm looking at books. I'm in the library catalog. Okay, so I want to find, I guess, things that are, we'll try again. Let's see, maybe available online. And I'm going to change it actually to the everything search. The everything search is just like it sounds. It's going to search everything. So now I'm up to like 2,600 results. So there's a lot of information out there with, we've got peer-reviewed articles, online books, print books. So I want to get that number down. That's a little bit unwieldy. So some of the things that I can use to change it on the filters on the left-hand side, one of the refinements that I can use is the dates. So I'm going to try oldest date. So here's a film that looks really interesting to me, the Greenwich Village Writers Bohemian Legacy. This is available online through Films on Demand. So it's just kind of clicking through the links. And sometimes it's slower to open than other times. Right now it's being a little bit slow. So if it doesn't open up in just a second, then I'll go ahead and we won't look at it. Okay, so here it is. It did open up. Okay, so this is my video, and I'm just going to click on it. That's going to enable me to listen to it. That's a little bit long. So if I want to go to specifically where it mentions Grace Paley, so I can click on that, and that's showing me the segment, and then I can listen to her there. So This seems really interesting to me. Of course, I'm not going to watch it during our presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and favorite this item so it's something that I can go back and look at later. Okay, so I'll go down here and look at, let's see, I'm going to just focus on books. So I'm going to click on held by library. Okay, so now I've got about 40 results. And I'd like to see books that see if we have anything written by her. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change it to add the filter for author, creator. Okay, so we have 4 books that were written by her, or there's a compilation that has her writings, a short story, in an anthology. Okay, so I'm going to take off that filter for Paley and I'm going to look at the subject. So I'm really interested in her poetry. So I can go over here and click on poetry. So this is going to show me the books available that have her work in them. So this one book here is showing that it's not available. So if I click on it, it'll show me why it's not available. This book is showing it was lost. It was lost last year, so it's not available to me. Some other reasons that a book might not be available is if it's a book that's new and it's still being processed, or it could be a book that's already checked out. So I can show you, we all have an account. So I'll show you the library card. So if these are the books that I have checked out, so I'm going to click on one of them. Okay, so this is the book, and it's showing that it's not available. And if I click on that, I can look down here and I can see, okay, this book's on loan until 12/7. So that means it's faculty because students only get 3 weeks. This book has 3 book reviews, so that's kind of cool. We've got that information available in our databases. Okay. All right, so the next thing I'm going to try, I'm going to dismiss this. And let me go back. Okay, so I'm going to take off that filter. Sorry, I'm trying to get to my back place here. Okay, it's not letting me go back. I'll go back to my library card. Okay, so if you have any books that are on request, you can see them here. So this is a book that I requested and it will be sent to me. And then I also can look at my favorites. So these are books that I favorited. Here's the one that I just did with the film. And I also could look at my saved searches. So some searches that I did recently is I did manatees kind of to prepare for our presentation today. I was looking for Raymond Carver. A student asked me about that. So I can look at my search history. And then these are the books that I have on favorite. So I can go to those if that's something that I want to look at later. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my search. Okay, I'm going to do the catalog again. I didn't like how I spelled it, so I'm going to click on that. Okay, so I'm going to look at held by library. Okay, so I just want to look at print books. Okay, My Mother's Daughter, Stories by Women. That looks interesting. And that one's available in Melbourne. So I can request this book. It's real simple. I'm already authenticated, so I don't have to put my name in here or anything. All I have to do is say, send that to Palm Bay, and click on send request, and then they'll send that book to me. And then it will show up again in my requests here. So now I've got 2 requests in progress. Okay, so I want to look for the books that are just in Palm Bay. So I'm going to click on Library, Palm Bay, and I've got 17 results. So this book right here, this one's in Palm Bay. That might be something that I'm interested in. I can look here and it's going to give me a description of the book. This is showing all the different authors that are in this anthology. And then I can also do a virtual browse. So just like you can do a browse where our books are in order of by subject, I also can do a virtual browse. So I could walk over to the books, look at different books on the same area, and decide, oh, there's something that's interesting that's similar. And I also can do that down here at the bottom with a virtual browse. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to show you is just something kind of weird that that I found out about, and just in my research, and I don't think that all the librarians know about this, so this is going to be a little trick that you may know about that not everyone else does. So if I come up here and I click on my everything search and I put dollar signs and I look for books, so this is going to show me all the books that we have available. So we have almost 250,000 books available to us, and that would be print and online books. And then this also works for our media. Okay, so that's showing 185,000 results that we can use for online and physical DVDs, and we probably have some VHSs too. But you can see these are all available. So here in Palm Bay, we have access to 1,800 different movies from what's physically available in the library. All right, so that is about all that I had today. Did anybody have any questions right now before Laura starts her presentation?
I did have one question.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering how I can search for, if there's a way I can search for peer-reviewed articles only.
Yeah, you definitely can, and Laura's going to show you that in just a minute.
Okay.
Yep, that's an important thing, so she's going to go over that.
Okay. And then I just have one other, when you were saying that books can be sent, like, do you mean like that they can be actually shipped to our house or sent to the school?
Yeah, it's to one of the other campuses, so thanks for asking that. There's a book here in Palm Bay and you would like it, and you're on one of the other campuses, you can put in that request button, and then that book will be sent to your campus. It usually takes a day or two. If you ordered something really early in the morning, then the staff might be able to get it, and we might be able to get it the next day, but you should have it within 2 days. And that's books that are at our other libraries.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for answering. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So I will give this up to Laura now.
All right. Can everybody hear me okay?
I can.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, Jayla, I'm so glad that you asked that question because that's our very next topic, like Holly mentioned. And thank you so much, Holly. That was absolutely fantastic. And I learned some new things with the dollar signs. So that's a good trick as well to use. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys and let me know if you don't see it and I'll fix it. Hold tight. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so I went ahead and before we started the presentation, I signed in. But if you look at your top right-hand corner of the screen, it still says sign in, right? So I want to make sure in Primo that I am logged in and have access to all of our wealth of resources. So what you want to do first is click on the sign in button and make sure you're logged in. And Holly did this at the beginning as well, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys again. It's going to be under My EFSC. And for students, this is going to be your Titan username and password. So like your B number and password. For us as faculty and staff, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to put in my last name, first initial, and my password. I can log in. And like Holly said, sometimes it takes a second to get us in. So once you see your name pop up on the top right-hand corner, you know that you're logged in and good to go. So I always like to check the top to make sure my name is there. And today, Holly showed you previously the Everything Search, which searches all of our ebooks, print books, media, videos, everything we have to offer, which is millions of resources. She also showed you our library catalog, which is specifically the EFSC catalogs and all of our offerings within our system. Now I'm going to show you guys a few different things. And like our student asked, we want to look at articles and how to access specifically peer reviewed. So that's actually my first item on the agenda to show you guys. So to filter by articles, you're going to want to, after you click that magnifying glass, click the articles. You can also select this after you start typing in for your search terms. It'll give you options in the dropdown. So you can do either way on that. And since Holly did manatees as her search subject, I wanted to keep my searches in the same realm. So my searches are all going to be focused on environment, conservation, specifically looking at wetlands, and also we'll look at some course reserves on environmental topics as well, just to kind of keep it all in the same wheelhouse. So my first search I'm going to do for you guys is going to be on environment conservation. So what you'll do is you'll just type your search up here, environment conservation. And again, it'll give you some drop-down menus. We already have the articles selected, but you could also click down here for articles. And this is probably your most important filter that I'm going to show you in my presentation, is these two on the left-hand side. You're going to want to make sure when you're searching that all of the articles are available and accessible online for you guys. And you also, like we mentioned, want them to be peer reviewed. When we check the peer reviewed filter, that means that these are scholarly literature that has been reviewed by other professionals in the field and deemed credible. So very, very important. And those filters will always be over here on your left-hand side. After we apply that, it's going to refresh our results. And now we should have quite a few selections. As you can see, we have almost 700,000 results in our screen. So that's a lot to go through. You could also use some other filters on this side, including language, publication date, which is a synonym for creation date, subject, like Holly showed you before. There's lots of different filters you can use to make that number go down to a more manageable size. But I do want to show you how to access an article once you've done your search. So this one's jumping out to me. It's called The Role of Agri-Environment Schemes in Conservation and Environmental Management. So this one fits my topic. I want to take a look at it and see how I can use that for my paper. And I do want to call your attention to a few buttons here. Keep in mind within Primo, you can email this particular article to yourself. You can print it. And there even is a pin feature like Holly showed you, as well as a citation feature. I think this is kind of lagging for me, so just give it a minute to load. I opened it in a new tab so you guys can see it. So once you open the article, like I said, it's going to have these different buttons available. If you wanted to pull the citation directly from Primo, you do have access to the MLA, APA, Chicago, and Harvard. And like Holly said, also double check these citations for accuracy, because every once in a while you can come across them. And I just found this out in one of my classes recently. We actually give you a reminder in Primo to check your citations, which is really great. You can copy this, paste it, and then you're good to go for your works cited for MLA. We do have both editions, 7th and 9th. If you're trying to access the article and you want to open the database, it looks like we have 2 databases where we can access this particular title. I'm going to go ahead and click on JSTOR to open it up. And it might take a minute or two. All right, so now that we're in JSTOR, we can see the full article and what it'll appear to you. I have a few buttons and tools that I like to use once I get into the database as well. Always save your article. I tell my students that all the time in my classes, just in case you find a really great article that you don't want to lose track of. If you keep them in a folder, either downloaded on a USB or on your desktop if you're working from your laptop or computer, that's an excellent way to do it. And you can download this PDF to your computer by clicking this button as well. There's also a share feature, so there's multiple ways to access that. If you need to access the citation within JSTOR itself, you can do cite this item on the left-hand side, and you'll also have access to all the different citation styles, including a hyperlink for the article on the end. All right. So that's the full functionality of the article and the databases. You can search within it, like Holly showed you before, for different keywords. And you can also use these different keywords to find other articles that are similar by putting these subject terms back in your search in Primo. So lots of different strategies you can use to find other articles similar to your topic of conservation and environment. All right, and then up at the top, you see access provided by Eastern Florida State College. That just tells us that we're logged in and that we have access to this under our student and faculty logins. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of JSTOR. So you saw how to access the article and citations. And then we're going to go back into Primo, and I want to show you a few more things. So after you've done your filters for online and peer reviewed, I did want to show you one more filter that I don't think we mentioned just yet. There's also a language filter on this side where you can change the language from English to filter out other things like French, Spanish, German. I don't know about you guys, but I only can read the English ones. So sometimes I like to click that filter to make sure it's all things that I can have clear access to. Okay. So I spent a lot of time in that search. So we're going to also continue on to our next search. I'm going to pause here though. Did anybody have any questions about searching for peer-reviewed and available now articles?
Yeah, I do have one question. You said that, like, I think I heard you say when searching in an article that you can search for an actual word, like how Miss Holly was showing us.
Yes.
How do you, you said that we can do that, but I'm not sure how that is done.
Okay, let me pull that up again. I'll pull up the same article. We'll do a Control F search in there for you guys.
Okay.
So just bear with me a second. I'll open it back up.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Okay, let me get back in here. Sometimes it's easy to download it and search within it, but you should be able to do like a Control F search Just like, so if you hit on your keyboard, it's going to be Control and then the F button. And then if you type like environment in your box up here, it should show you all the different areas like Holly mentioned where environment is mentioned. You may actually have to download the article to do that function as well. So once you download and do Control F, it'll do the same thing and it'll highlight. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. That helps me a lot. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Good, good. Okay. So we'll go back to our search. Great questions again. So let me close this out. So basically that's peer-reviewed articles in a nutshell, and then we're going to move on. I do want to show you a couple other things, and I know we still have plenty of time, so we're doing good. So the next search I want to show everybody is going to be what we call a UBorrow search. So we're going to change on our dropdown to statewide catalog, right? From articles to statewide catalog. And this time I want to request a book, a print book. And UBorrow only is for print book materials. We at this time do not UBorrow any media, videos or other literature. So we're going to put in a search specifically for wetlands because I want to know more about that environment and habitat. And we'll click our magnifying glass to do the search. All right, so now that we've done our wetland search, this is going to show us all the books across our campus and other statewide colleges and universities that we can request to be shipped to our campus. So one thing I want to show you under the filters is if you go specifically to the institution filter, it's going to show you all the different colleges that we have reciprocal borrowing privileges with. And for this presentation today, I specifically chose University of Central Florida's offerings. So they have 2,200 materials that we can request and borrow from. So I'm going to go ahead and click on University of Central Florida. And give it a minute to load. This top title, as you can see, we have this copy at Eastern Florida State. So we're not going to request that in UBorrow because we can request that from our own institution. This second title though here, wetlands, we do not have access to that. And I want to use that for my paper. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So to get this print book sent to me, I'm going to click on UBorrow request. And it's very similar to how Holly showed us before, how we request between campuses, but it's a little bit different because it's going to be shipped to us from somewhere else. And it takes a second to load. So it's going to tell us the title of the book, all the information, and the most important piece of information you're going to tell the database is change this to your home campus. So I'm at Cocoa right now, so I'm going to select Eastern Florida Cocoa because I want to pick it up at my campus. It's going to have my email already here. And when you hit this send request button, it's going to take the University of Central Florida approximately, I would say 3 to 5 business days to send that over to us. Keep in mind, it's going to be a little bit longer than intercampus mail because it's coming from colleges and universities all across the state of Florida. So we have to have a little bit more patience with the amount of time it takes for those to come to us. But again, very similar to the process that we use for intercampus requests. All right. So there's lots of different titles to choose from. An excellent feature if there's something you can't find with us at our campuses. And keep in mind, again, there's many different institutions we borrow from. All right. So I showed you articles and we went over UBorrow. The last thing I want to show you guys today that will help you in your research is course reserves, which is right here on the bottom. So we're going to change it to course reserves. And my last search term I'm going to use is just a simple environment search. All right. So when we did our course reserve search, it's going to tell you on the left-hand side all the different course names across EFSC that have environment books and videos on reserve at the library. What does it mean when we say on reserve? It means that these materials are available behind the circulation desk for use in the library from 2 to 4 hours at a time. So let's say I'm taking a class on environment and I'd really like to use this Journey to Planet Earth video for one of my papers. You can see right here that it's available here at COCO under our audio-visual collection. We can get the call number and information, and what you're gonna do is bring this call number QL82.S792006 up to our circulation staff, and they will go behind the desk to check this out to you with your student ID. Very easy, all right? And again, those are only available within library use. So I think that concludes my section of the presentation. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen so that we can also, Holly and I, answer any additional questions that you guys may have.
Yeah, I did have one other question about that course reserves section that you were just showing us. Those are something that we have to actually be at the physically at the library to watch.
Yes, and we do have some things at the library where you can watch a DVD, or if you have, you know, some way to access that on your own. It's a little tricky with the DVDs because we have to check out the DVD player as well. But yes, you do physically, you'll be in the library for those.
Okay. Okay. Well, I just want to say that I was really confused about this whole online library. It's my first time using it, and this helped me a lot. So I really appreciate it very much.
Awesome.
I was feeling very lost, so you guys helped me very much.
That's great.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Did anybody else have any questions today? Okay, so one thing that I'll just add is I've had a faculty member ask me, you know, I just got used to Mango. Why did you guys change this? So I do want to just let you know this was something that was a decision collaboratively. There's 40 institutions that we are in a consortium with. And so it was decided that we were going to change to Primo. So it wasn't something that we did on our own. There are things that I like about Primo better, and there are things that I think are more clunky and a little harder to get to. So, so yeah, I think our contract's at least for 5 years, so we won't be changing our system again for at least 5 years. So,
Woohoo!
yeah.
Can you put that screen back up that had the contact info, please? Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on Palm Bay, Laura's on Cocoa, and both of us can meet with you in Teams as well if you need any help with anything.
Absolutely.
And then we also have our chat. I have that little note there. I don't think we talked about the Ask a Librarian chat, but there's over 80 hours of chat available a week with EFSC librarians and then other Florida librarians across the state. So utilize that too.
That's actually how I found, as I didn't know how to get into this, you know, so I asked the library chat, and she sent me the link. So it was very helpful.
Oh, good. I'm glad that was helpful. And it's great to see it. You know, somebody can kind of talk you through it, but just seeing it helps a lot too. So.
It does. Yeah, it really does. So I really appreciate your time today, both of you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Jayla.
Yes, ma'am.
So Mary has recorded this, so if you ever want to get a refresher, that will be available to you. And if you have any other students that you know that have trouble too, they can watch the recording or please refer them to us. So.
How do we watch the recording if we want to?
Mary will have a link for it. Is that correct, Mary? She'll have a link that it'll post in Teams.
That's correct. We'll add the presentation to the undergraduate research page. We have 2 other presentations that's available to you as well regarding library services and searching the database. And so
Oh, okay.
it'll take about a week for the video or the presentation to be edited, and then we'll upload it.
Okay. And this, we can find the other 2 presentations, you said on the main webpage?
If you go to the EFSC website and you click on academics and career options, you're going to see a drop down menu. Scroll to the bottom until you see undergraduate research office. Click that title, and then you look for the section that says for students. Scroll down a little bit, and then you will see a link that says online presentations.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
And Jayla, if you have trouble finding that link, you can always email one of us and we'll be happy to share that with you as well after the presentation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think we're done. If nobody else has any questions. So thank you guys for coming today. And we enjoyed, sharing with you a little bit about Primo. So